Maybe the biggest change in being a long distance leader from the way things have always been done is that we require the use of technology. And that can cause a fair amount of drama and confusion. But if you really want to think about what tools do my team need, we need to start with the basic question, which is, what the heck do we do? Right? What's the work that needs to be done?
What is the work that needs to be done? And then let's have the technology that supports that rather than saying we got all this technology, how are we going to use it? I think that's got to be the first piece. So you're sitting there watching us in one of two places. Either you're in a place where you got a whole bunch of technology already. And if that's the case, start with what do we need to accomplish, and then what's the best tool or tools to get us there. And if you don't have that stuff yet, then you can start from a clean sheet of paper. But either way, I think, to your point, Wayne, we want to start with what is the work that needs to be done. So, for example, we're all going to have email, but beyond that, like, how are we communicating? What are the ways in which the team needs to integrate and collaborate? And what are the tools that we need? How often do we meet virtually? All of those sorts of things play into then what are the kinds of technologies that we need for us to be most successful.
And I think one of the key lessons of the long distance leader is these are fairly easy decisions to make if we stop and ask ourselves some basic questions. And one of the ones that very seldom gets explicitly asked is, which tool do we use for which job based on how effective it will be? I'll give you a simple example. If you're the kind of leader who kind of squirms at the idea of having uncomfortable conversations, it's very easy to default to email. You've got the tool, it's easy to send off that email at the last minute at the end of the day so that you don't actually have to talk to the person. It's easy, and it's the wrong decision, right? Ultimately, that's going to impact the working relationship, your effectiveness, all of that good stuff. We need to stop and be mindful always of what is the right thing from a leadership perspective, and then what are the tools we have at our disposal to allow us to do that as best we can. And it might not be the one we like.
You know, sitting here at 8:45 on a given day right here at Remarkable House, I've already asked myself that question at least 3 times this morning. What's the right way for me to communicate this? What's the right medium for me to use to have that conversation or to make that happen? And so I think that's a critical piece. So when you may have started listening to this thinking, oh my gosh, they're going to talk about the technologies, and we have been, but really it's about how do we get the work done and using the technology as a tool, as an enabler, and because too often what's happening, it's getting in the way because we're using the wrong ones, we're making bad choices, or we don't really know how to use them.
Well, and that's the trick. One of the keys of the long distance leader is we make a point of breaking out what's technology dependent, what's not, what are the tools and tricks that'll help you succeed. But it all starts from first principles.